not a constitutional prime minister who can as well be sacked at any time by the president, and entrenching all powers in the president, one person. So everybody would like to be a president. But if there is distribution of authority, and that is why we were saying let us go parliamentary system. Probably if we don't go back to parliamentary system, we'll still fight. And we must have 2 deputies president. If we want to address gender, we will not leave women down there. 1 deputy who is a male, 1 deputy who is a woman. 2 deputies prime minister. And senior positions, like those ones of chief secretary, what have you, must be put there. And the president, whoever wins as a prime minister and president, they can sit and co-opt somebody to that leadership who was in the opposition and say you are coming in as a deputy president. You are coming in as a deputy premier. You are coming in as a chief secretary. About 6 slots. Let people don't cheat you that the work of the constitution, they want to allot positions for themselves. All constitutions world over, are created with people who will fill them in mind. World over, including articles of companies. You work out an article of the company knowing who will be the chairman of that company. How much shares does he have in that particular company? So let nobody cheat you that we are working out on a constitution for posterity, a constitution for Wanjiku, a constitution for Robare, constitution for Kamau. That is a total lie. Because I was listening to some of those leaders who are saying that, and I asked themselves, how much do they spend to this, even in their own villages? They have tinted cars. They don't want somebody to move closer. They are very mean unless when they are in the bar on Glenfiddich. When they are drinking Glenfiddich, they can afford to buy one for themselves. But an ordinary person, I know all of them, those who are saying about Wanjikus. Let us have a constitution, we will be repeating the same thing. Instead of saying and telling the government and President Uhuru, let us create a constitution that is all-inclusive. So that all of us here, if we went for elections, for the position of president or prime minister, and we lost out, we can still be accommodated in that house. That is when there will be peace in this country. But somebody to cheat you, so long as we remain with a powerful president, we don't go parliamentary way, we will still fight. I'm telling you. We can bet we will still fight. So those people who will be making presentation to that technical committee, urge them to go parliamentary way. There is no way. Even corruption. People steal from government coffers, preparing themselves to be elected as powerful presidents. That is why they award tenders to their cronies. That is why government projects cannot move. That is my take. And I did shy away. I told them, lazima kwa governance tufanye ukarabati. Whether you like it or not, if you don't like it, wait. You will see it. You will see it. And you will see to your children, to your grandchildren. Me 2007, my shop steward was killed while I was talking to him on the phone in Naivasha. I know how painful it is after elections. Here in Kisumu, some lawyers who went contrary to the politics of Nyanza cannot access this airport after elections. Hii airport huwa inafungwa. And this airport serves Western, serves Uganda, serves even people in Kericho and Rift Valley. Is the facility around here. You cannot access it. So if we want to remove that, let us go parliamentary way. Let's not cheat ourselves. Okusa umeona mara nyingi. Bado kama unasema ati president ndiye ata-appoint prime minister, ndiye ata-appoint watu wengine, atakuwa powerful president wa kufanya hii kazi yote. Let us go parliamentary way. Where we have a powerful prime minister who does everything in parliament, he answers questions in parliament. We have a president also who can appoint ambassadors, ministers, and so on. They distribute that power, but all those positions are constitutional, including their deputies. And then there must be a proviso in the constitution that when the president and the prime minister meets, can opt somebody who was a presidential candidate and he could not make it, either to become a deputy president or a deputy premier. You would have done it. Even if there were 3, 4, I'm sure you would have created peace in this country. And all presidential candidates must also be in parliament, so that when he loses, he has somewhere to hang. I'm telling you. Because today, for example, I want to tell you the truth. If somebody takes over, President Uhuru is a very young man, and he decides to say, I want to revenge to the Kenyatta family, because now this person has acquired power. Do you think President Uhuru Kenyatta will sit pretty at home in Katundu South waiting somebody to destroy the family? Politics of revenge. Will he sit pretty sitting down? He will organize his militia. He's wealthy enough and do all these things. But today, if you had a presidential, a parliamentary system, and you feel that we still have a room for the slots remaining, you ask Kikuyus bring us one person. If they feel bringing you Uhuru, he's covered. Or he himself recommends somebody. Like what Muda War is doing in Western Kenya. He recommends people to the government. Take this one as a minister. That things goes quiet. Or Raila, I'm not going there, but take Orengo on behalf of Nyanza people. That quiet is everything. You see? So that is the system we want. And when Nyanza people know, no, now we are represented among the top 6. You access there will be peace. Or Kalonzo Musyoka is there, or Ngilu from Ukambani. You have no problem with Wakamba. But if you create a constitution here now, as it is, and I want, because me, I don't want to be a president, I don't want to be a prime minister, I don't want to be anything. I'm just advising Kenyans as a senior citizen. Let them implement this paper and alter it or amend it, and wait. And see, amongst those people who are now vying for presidents, who like just thumping, you will see fire. You will see fire. You will see fire in this country. That one I can tell you for free. You will see fire. We must address an issue of governance. Leave all those other things. Corruption they are talking about, issues they are talking about in other clauses of the Constitution are in the current Constitution. Why have we not implemented Chapter 6 of the current Constitution on integrity? It's because the leadership at top there is not serious on that, implementation of that. But they are there in the current Constitution. The problem that makes us fight is on governance. It is not all inclusive. We must have somebody from the coast. We cannot say coast people, these are marginalized, they are small people, they are Muslims. We must have somebody from coast. We must have somebody, even if it is in Nyanza, even from Kisii. We have Androbo, who can come up from Rift Valley. Borana. That is when he will be doing justice to this country. That is when it will be all inclusive. Naona hiyo maneno. Lakini mkisema hii katiba sijui, we have this current the draft here. The only position is being changed is Duales, from the leader of the government business in the house to the prime minister. The rest is the same. And worse still, Duales is in the Constitution. This one will be an appointee of the president. So, yeah, but I'm alerting Kenyans. Because I heard some are saying, oh, watu wanataka kuchigawia madaraka. Wasipochigawia wewe mtu wa chini, ni lini ulipata hiyo madaraka? Imefika kwako lini? Even some of you are just a mere MCA doesn't know your home. Unless kama Matanga iko huko amepepa shilingi 10,000 ya mjumbe wa area na yake shilingi 5,000 ama 2. Anakuja kudonate. MCA, ni ordinary MCA ajui kwako. So itakuwa katiba hii hiyo implemented ije kwako. Shout sana. And when you say like that, watu wanaenda kwa social media. Wanaandika vitu wewe Atwoli anaongea nini. It is because of ignorance. Most of Kenyans are not exposed. Ask those who are talking. Now, if you go to Malaysia, the oldest founder of Malaysia, the Prime Minister, at the age of around 90, he has come back in the government. To correct anomalies, go and read the Constitution of Malaysia. Go to Singapore. Singapore, the president has been my immediate colleague at the ILO, Halima Yaku, from the trade unions. Go there and see what they are doing. A woman can have an opportunity up to president. Go and look at their constitution. The constitution we have, will it provide an opportunity for a woman to go on top? Oh, you mnasema nini bwana? Sasa, how all inclusive is it? We must interrogate this constitution. And this is the top cream of workers in this country. And when we addressed that committee of Hajj, we told them that we want a parliamentary system. Not sugarcoating. Whom are they fearing? We know our enemy and we are avoiding to face it head on. Our enemy is on governance. If they can't, then let them allow the devolved system, the counties, to have their full autonomy. Yeah. Like Western Province is bigger than Belgium. We can have our own government. Yeah. Nyanza, they have our own government. And then we form a federal state of Kenya. Other than to have a constitution, ile watu wengine watakadia wengine miaka nenda miaka kuja. Yeah. We have our own foreign affairs minister, we have our own finance minister, we have everything. The coast people watakuwa na government yao, we pay tax for imports. Kupitia Mombasa, we pay them tax. And then we have a federal system. Taumia nyinyi. Well, why we call you people here, guys? Let me now come to the subject. I think Mwaura should come here. Mwaura aje hapa mbele. Barasa iko wapi? Tafutia Mwaura kiti hapa mbele. This is a big subject. Bado nataka tuongee Mwaura akiwa hapa. Mtafutie mheshimiwa kiti. Yeah. Yeah. Kuja kukaa hapa kidogo Mwaura. Are you ready, guys? Sisters? Can see some of my sisters are here from the media. Why we have gathered here today, this is the top cream of the labor movement in Kenya. These are members of both the executive board of KOTU and affiliates, from affiliates, general secretaries of various unions affiliated to us. One was also to carry out inspection on the ongoing renovation works at the college, where almost 50% of our works are over. We are now on the on the resource center, and also in those 2 halls, residence halls down there, of which by February they would be over. And now we will embark on perimeter fence and making sure everywhere there is cabro, and the college is a working college. This will be the only institution in Western Kenya that will have a 24-hour restaurant. For anybody visiting here would be able to come and even reside here. We are going to have 2 5-star guest houses here. One which will go for 35,000 shillings per night. That is a 2-bedroomed one, self-contained kitchen, everything. And the other one will be going for 45,000. And then the cheapest will be going for about 10,000, but also self-contained outside there. They will have their own access, and they will be open for government and county government and other business communities to use. On top of that, including labor leaders, employers, and everybody. So this is what we are trying to do here. And those people who are doing that job are these ones here. They came to see what they are doing. Me, I'm just assigned by them that this is what we want. That was one. The second very important topic which brought us here is, as you know, under the 3 pillars that make the International Labour Organization, where I'm an elected member of the ILO governing body, which operates the board. That board operates like employer's board or a company's board. It regulates what is required in the world of work as far as the rules that governs working men and women across the world through what we call international labor standards. And then, in the wisdom of the then Director General, Mr. Somavia, who retired some times back, he introduced what is globally known as decent work agenda with several programs. That if you are given a job, it's not just a job, is that job decent? Does it carry with it the dignity that you deserve as a worker? So that is what has been being preached world over and pegged to several ILO conventions, which includes a lot of things like social dialogue, social security, and several things, including employment policies, and things like labor inspections, and several other things. And how do we enter? Because our main area of existence is in social dialogue. How do we continue dialoguing between us, government, and employers? These are 3 social partners. Now, it has been working now, but we were tasked, as co-2 employers were also tasked the same, and government too as well, through the Ministry of Labor. How do we enrich it? It's still relevant. You know, the modern thinkers, technologists, digital guys like you people here, they don't stick on one item for more than 3 years. After 2 years, they want to review the performance of that particular item on the agenda, whether it is still relevant or irrelevant, whether it is implementable or not, and how to enrich it and make it more effective to guard the rights of the working people across the globe. If it is for employer, how do we enrich it to guard the interests of the employers across the globe? If it is government, to say, how are we, because governments are people who are member states of the United Nations. ILO is an agent of the United Nations, and they pay money. Even when we are in these tripartite meetings, we are going to the regional one in Abidjan, government will be paying for me and Jacqueline from employers, a tripartite government delegation. Are we still required to pay for a worker and employer? They also look into that. So that is what we have been looking into it. Do we enrich it? He's the expert. Maura is a former labor inspector or a labor officer with the Ministry of Labor, and when he retired, he joined trade union movement. He's in the beauty union representing those workers in beauty industry. And instead of us getting an expert from outside ourselves, we have our own expert. So he was putting us all this through, that if we are to enrich, this is the route, this is the way forward. And one thing I'm impressed with, and this is what actually, Maura, what you did, is what the white people do. The white people don't retire. Akiwacha hii kasa anaenda up, and they remain current all the time. You are more current than even myself, who is a member of the ILO governing board. I was listening to you carefully, and I'm proud of you on that when you are making presentation. So he has put us all those three. He has told us the wanting areas, like this country, it is lacking an employment policy. Without employment policy, that is why we have correspondence. Other countries would not allow that. They would tell an investor, as you invest in this country, if it is a correspondent in our media house, it is only for 3 months. If she or he has done very well, you give him up to 6 months, and then you absorb him in full employment as a journalist. And this is the starting salary of this particular journalist. After 2 years, you review her terms and conditions of service. So in most, if you go in the developed world, if you ask a worker, are you unionized? He says, yes, I'm in the union, but I don't know where they meet. Because those rules are open. It's not like here, we must fight with the government, we must fight with the employers for them to increase wages. That is as per employment policy. Things related to social security are also open. And we at ILO, we came up with something called social protection flow. This one, it includes your things like pension schemes, how will you retire, how are you protected socially, and so on. And also, the last ILO convention we did put in place is to protect our sisters, and we did it this June this year on harassment at the place of work, which now we are fighting for the government to ratify, following others like domestic workers and so on. So what we are saying is that I want to thank Maura who have come up, and this he came up with this paper. They have put their own input is there, and we wanted also to own his professional job, which means that every Kenyan, where he is, government, employers, and everybody must make sure the jobs that are segmented, jobs that are given to Kenyans, are jobs that are decent. Things like outsourcing, casualization, temporary jobs, piecemeal jobs, poor contracts, and part-time jobs that are not properly stipulated are done away with, because they contribute to a high exploitation of labor, and they dehumanize a human being. You can see our people who are in the security industry, where Ndabwa comes from. Now, anybody visiting, he finds at the gate there is a woman who is a guard. Instead of accepting for that lady to take records of his vehicle and everything before the gate is opened, anaanza kupiga makofi. You see, this is what we don't want. That is making our employment in this country be precarious, to be dangerous to both working men and women. We don't want to go that route. A supervisor in a supermarket. Yeah. Yeah, because this girl, maybe when he went to her house at night, she could not open the door. This guy comes to avenge at her workplace. We have now a very strict ILO convention to protect working women at their places of work against any type or any form of violence. So I want to thank Brother Maura, because what he told us, he touched on extreme poverty, inequality, and imbalances at workplace, and how do we extend social protection to people in informal sector as we fight the transiting informal workers to formal workers, and how do we tap them into the union. And also, COTU and the Federation of Kenya Employers, how do we build capacity because of the changing world? We need to build capacity, capacities of our people through workers and employers education, so that we can match the changing world of work. Because most of now work being done is either through digital systems. You don't see the employer, you don't see the factory, but things are being exported and some working from the house and so on.